Hello students, welcome to Ignite IAS. This is Mansoor, and in this session we will try to analyze the questions that were given in UPSC 2026 preliminary examination, and mainly we will try to analyze or we will try to discuss the questions particularly given from geography, right? So the students who have written the exam would have already experienced the blow which was given by UPSC. So usually what happens is yearly, if you take the previous year's analysis, so geography used to play a major role, right? So either it might be from world geography, Indian geography, right? The questions would be up to some 20, right? Up to 15 to 20, this would be the number from the geography. But the point is, in this year particularly, the questions were somewhat reduced. I won't say drastically reduction from geography happened. Yes, some sort of areas haven't asked in this year prelims exam, and overall the number of questions from geography was limited only up to 10 to 15 questions, and some questions were directly linked with the current affairs. Right. So whatever it might be, the questions from geography this year was reduced, and in this class we will try to analyze the questions. Okay, and one more point is the students who are watching this video for the first time, right? So usually in this kind of a series where we will be explaining the previous year questions, we will be not going into the depth. Okay, so for those who have already finished one complete reading of Indian geography or else world geography would be knowing what I am talking about, the questions in this particular video, right? But still, keeping the freshers in mind as well, I will try to tell you from where these questions have been picked and how the questions could have been answered. Okay, so without any further delay, we will try to analyze the questions that were given in 2026 prelims. And here, this is the first question. Actually, the point here is the question's size or the question's length has been reduced, and we tried to keep the important points that were given in question. Right? We haven't uploaded the lengthier questions. We cut shorted those questions, and we are trying to solve those particular questions. Now, if you see the question, the first question here, he is asking that he is asking regarding a volcano. Which volcano? Tunguraho volcano, declared a global geopark by UNESCO in 2025, is situated in which country? So usually this question we can consider it as a current affairs question. Okay, especially this current affairs question was taken from geography. And when we are reading regarding the volcanoes, usually in world geography or else we can say in physical geography, we will be reading regarding the volcanoes. Okay, so under that topic, what we usually do is, so whatever the concept which we learn in the class, we will try to see whether there are any volcanoes that were recently erupted, or we will be seeing whether there are any volcanoes that were recently added to any list. Either it might be UNESCO list or either it might be any list, right? So we will try to see whether any volcanoes are there in the news, right? So there we will be reading regarding this particular topic. Okay, so this is how we need to map the particular question which was given in UPSC. So first of all, the mapping, right? The first point is, this particular concept was taken from physical geography and especially from volcanoes, and this was directly picked from the current affairs which was in 2025. So if I'm not wrong, in April 2025, what happened is UNESCO has declared 16 places under global geopark initiative, and with that 16, overall what happened was, right now we have 229 global geoparks all across 50 countries. And in 2025, as I told you earlier, 16 global geoparks were added across 11 countries. Now, total overall, how many geoparks we have? We have 229 geoparks. In that, 50 countries, these geoparks were established all across these 50 countries. Now let us come back to the question. Right, first we understood from where this question has been picked. Now, if you try to solve this particular question, actually this Tungurahu volcano, it was there in Ecuador. Right, it was situated in Ecuador. Option A itself is saying Ecuador. Okay. Now, Peru, Bolivia and Colombia, where we will be finding these countries? These countries are in the southern American continent. Even Ecuador is near to that southern American continent. Okay. Now the point here is the correct answer would be option A, Ecuador. Now if you see the explanation slide here, so as I told you earlier, this particular Tungurahu volcano, it was located in the South American continent, and in Ecuador we have this Tungurahu volcano. Okay. So other countries which were given in question, that is Peru, Bolivia and Colombia, even these questions were in, these countries were in South American continent. Now the point here is, so whenever we are analyzing any previous year question, we should not see the answer, right? We should not stop near the answer, right? We need to check the other options as well. And what we have to do is, next year when we are trying to solve these questions, you need to see whether there are any activities that are happening in Peru, whether any activities it is happening in Bolivia or Colombia. We need to keep a check on this particular countries, right? So that is how we need to make a connection to the question which was asked the previous year, and the questions might be coming from this particular countries as well in upcoming exams, right? So in that point of view, we need to keep South American continent in our radar. Okay, anything that is happening in South American continent in terms of geographical aspect, we should be keeping in mind. Okay, so now let's move to the second question. And the point here is, this is not that tough question. This is one of the simplest question, right? So the people who follows static portion along with the dynamic portion, that is along with the current affairs in a proper way, will be obviously keeping making these questions right in exam. Now the second question, again, if you read the question, it is saying that with reference to climate of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which statements are correct? Now here he has given three statements. Let us try to read these three statements. In that first statement is, the climate can be defined as humid, tropical coastal climate. Second statement, it receives rainfall from both the southwest and northeast monsoon. Third, the maximum precipitation is between December and May. Right. So as I told you earlier, don't directly go to the answer. First, we need to understand from which part of geography this question has been picked. Now, if you see this particular question, it was taken from Indian geography. And where we will be reading regarding this? Especially in climate of India. If you read, when we are focusing on climate of India, there we will be getting this concept, right? And here he asked regarding Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now we need to identify which of these three statements are fitting exactly to the climate of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now we all know that Andaman and Nicobar Islands is in the northern hemisphere, right? That means India is in northern hemisphere. Along with India, we will be having Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the eastern side in Bay of Bengal. And if you see the statement number 1, it is saying that the climate can be defined humid, tropical, coastal climate. So what does it mean? It is trying to tell the climate in Andaman and Nicobar is humid climate. Whether the statement is right or wrong, we need to identify. Second one, it is saying that it has a tropical coastal climate. So obviously, since this particular Andaman and Nicobar lies in a tropical zone, obviously it will be having tropical coastal climate, and the temperature or the water vapor or else we can say the climate in that particular region will be humid. Why we are calling Andaman and Nicobar climate as humid climate? Because we will be having more amount of water vapor. Now the point is, what is humidity? Humidity is nothing but the presence of water vapor in atmosphere. So where we will be having more water vapor? Where we have more water body. We know that Andaman and Nicobar is surrounded by, we have surrounded by water, especially this Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. The amount of presence of water will be very high. Whenever there is presence of water, we will be having a more amount of humidity, right? So because of that reason, statement 1 will be right. Second statement, it receives rainfall from both southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. Now, what is meant by southwest monsoons? We all know that during the month of June, this monsoon will cross the equator and enters into northern hemisphere. And once when this winds enters into northern hemisphere, they take a right turn. Right, deflection will be happening towards the right, and all the monsoon winds will be hitting the western coast of India. And after hitting the western coast of India, especially near Kerala, we will be seeing the deflection in the branches in monsoons, and one branch will be going parallel to the western coast, another branch will be going to Andaman and Nicobar, and from there it crosses Bay of Bengal and it enters India, and one more wing will be going all across the Indian subcontinent, right? So this is the basic concept which we learned during the monsoons. Now the point here is, he is saying that Andaman and Nicobar will be receiving more amount of monsoons, more amount of rainfall in southwest monsoons. This is correct. And what about this thing? Northeast monsoons? Northeast monsoons is nothing but the monsoons which are coming back, right? We call these monsoons as retreating monsoons. Now, when monsoons are coming back after reaching to the Himalayas and central part of India and the northern part of India, they will come back, they will all travel across the Indian Ocean, they will reach up to the Bay of, up to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. From there, again, they go towards the southern part of the hemisphere. That means they cross equator and they go back. They go down. So, in that way, we can say that southwest monsoons and the northeast monsoons will be creating rainfall in Andaman and Nicobar, right? So the statement is correct. For suppose, if he is asking, out of these two monsoons, southwest and the northeast monsoons, which monsoon will be giving more amount of rainfall to Andaman and Nicobar? We should say southwest monsoons. That means the monsoons which are coming, right, during the month of June, July, right, those monsoons will be giving more amount of rainfall. High rainfall will be there in Andaman and Nicobar due to southwest monsoons. Now, what about northeast monsoons? Northeast monsoons also gives rainfall to Andaman and Nicobar, but when compared with the southwest, northeast monsoons will be giving less rainfall in Andaman and Nicobar. But that is not the point here. Here he is saying that overall, Andaman and Nicobar will be receiving rainfall from both southwest and northeast. This statement is correct. This is a general statement. Now, the third statement, the maximum precipitation is between December and May. Now, the point here is, we understood that majority of rainfall in Andaman and Nicobar happens during southwest monsoons. Now, when does the southwest monsoons happens? From the month of June up to the month of August. September, we will be seeing the southwest monsoons. Retreating monsoons will be coming from after, retreating monsoons will be happening after the December, right? After September, or else we can say October, November, December, these 3 months will be having retreating monsoons. Now, the point here is, statement 3 is contradicting the statement 2, the concept that we learned in statement 2. In statement 2, along with statement 2, we learned that maximum rainfall will happen due to southwest monsoon. Now, here he is saying that between the month of December and May, by the month of December, retreating monsoons also end. Right, here he is saying that after the ending of monsoons, that is from December to May, the rainfall will be more in Andaman and Nicobar. That is what given in statement 3. Right, that means the statement 2 and statement 3 both are contradictory. So usually we follow one elimination trick. Right, what is that? Whenever there are two statements which contradict to each other, we will be eliminating one statement. Right. So if you go by that way, we can easily eliminate option 3. Because in India, we generally receive rainfall from the month of June and up to the month of November in different parts of India. Not all the parts of India will be receiving the same amount of rainfall through June up to November, right? Southwest monsoons and retreating monsoons, they will be playing a different role. But whatever it is, the rainfall will happen from the June and up to the November and December, right? So here is saying that from December to May, rainfall will be more, right? That is wrong. So if you eliminate option 3, you can eliminate this statement and you can eliminate this statement. You will be left with option A and option B. Right? If you know that statement 2 and statement 1 is also correct, then the answer will be 1 and 2. You can easily use this particular method. Even though if you don't know the above two statements, if you know that the third statement is wrong, by elimination you can easily eliminate these two statements and you will be left with these two statements. Even here also, statement 1 is there in two options. That means it is, by default it is correct statement. Statement 2, you have to check whether it is right or wrong. If you know it is right, then answer will come. If you know it is wrong, then again 50-50 guesswork has to be done. If that guesswork is going in your favor, you will be getting +2. That if that guesswork is not going in your favor, again obviously you will be getting the negative marks. But overall, the answer for this question will be option B. Right. Now the third question. Which geographical features or phenomena is associated with the peninsular block of India? Again, first we will try to read the statements, then we will try to understand from which part of geography the question has been asked. Statement number 1, submergence of parts of western coast due to the tectonic activity. Second, the presence of residual mountain ranges such as Velikonda and Mahendragiri hills. Third, deep V-shaped river valleys formed by the fast flowing rivers. So these are the three statements. We need to find out, out of these three statements, which statement is associated with the peninsular block of India. Now, this particular question, again, it is from Indian geography. And even in Indian geography, when you try to read the geographical features, physiological features of India, there you will be reading regarding, this particular concept. Right. So that is point number 1. Now, so what is in the peninsular block of India? Let us consider. We know that, or else we can say the part which is towards the southern side of Tropic of Cancer. We know that Tropic of Cancer will be passing through different states. In India, it starts from Gujarat, then it enters into Rajasthan, then Madhya Pradesh, and so on. It enters into the northeastern states, right? So we know that out of all the states, this Tropic of Cancer will be passing to 7 states, right? Now the point is, the area which is below this Tropic of Cancer, that is generally considered as peninsular block of India. So the point here is, statement 1, he is saying that submergence of part of western coast due to tectonic activity. So what does it mean? It means that this western coastal area, it has been submerged into the waters of the seas. Right, and this submergence is happening due to the tectonic activity. So that is what he has mentioned in statement number 1. Right. So the statement is right only. Okay. So this is the basic thing which we will be knowing when we understand or when we focus on this particular area. Right. So how? So whenever we are reading regarding the peninsular block of India, we usually say that western side has been submerged and eastern side is extending. Right, the new formations are forming in the eastern side. Either it might be deltas, right? Either it might be the accumulation of all the silt coming from the rivers. What happens is, eastern side, the emergence of land will be there, and in western side, the submergence of land will be there. That is a basic fundamental thing, which we will be reading when we are reading regarding the peninsular block of India. So statement 1 is correct, right? So now let us try to eliminate the options parallel. So the answer statement 1 should be there. So if we can eliminate the option C and we can eliminate option D. Right. Now, second statement. The presence of residual mountain ranges such as Velikonda and Mahendragiri hills. Now, where we have Velikonda and Mahendragiri hills? Obviously, Velikonda, it is in AP. Mahendragiri, it is in Odisha. Right, we know that Mahendragiri and Velikonda hills, they are the part of the entire peninsular block. He is not asking the eastern side or western side. He is saying that this Velikonda and Mahendragiri hills are present in the peninsular block of India. So this is the basic thing. Right, all the mountains that are there in southern side, they are the part of peninsular block. Either it might be the eastern Ghats, either it might be the western Ghats. Okay, so option 2 should also be there. So by that technique, if you try to eliminate the other options, we can eliminate option A. Why? Answer should be 1, 2. Okay. So where we have option B. So option B is the right answer. So forget about option 3. Whether it is right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because when we go by the when we go by this particular, when we go by this technique, we can easily find out that option B will be the right answer. Okay. Now, Anyway, we came across the two statements. Let us try to understand the third statement as well. The third statement is deep V-shaped river valleys were formed by fast-flowing rivers. So this is the thing which he asked in he said in statement number 3. Now the point is V-shaped valleys or deep valleys, they are generally seen in the areas where the water is flowing from a particular height. That means the slope of that particular area should be very high. Okay, or else we can say the gradient of that particular area should be very high. Now, if you compare the entire topography of India in peninsular block, we have less gradient hills. If you go to the northern part of India, if you go to the Himalayan mountains, there we have more amount of high gradient hills. Now, this question is fixed to the peninsular block of India, so we should focus whether we have high gradient in peninsular part of India or not. The point is we don't have high gradient hills. If we don't have high gradient hills, we will be not seeing the formation of deep valleys, or we will be not seeing the formation of V-shaped valleys. Okay. Now, what about valleys in southern part of India, that is in peninsular block? Do we have no valleys? Yes, we have valleys, but the valleys are not deep. In South India or else in peninsular block of India, the valleys are somewhat shallow, right? We don't have V-shaped valleys. We have normal valleys. Okay. And what is the reason? Reason is we don't have high gradient mountains in peninsular block of India. We have high gradient mountains in the northern Himalayan regions. Okay, so if you apply that particular concept, option 3 will be gone. If you don't know regarding option 3, if you go by the elimination method, then also you will be getting the answer. Answer will be option B. Now, next question about Lake Turkana. Which statements are correct? First statement, it is the largest desert lake in the world. See, the point is you should not confuse. Usually we have another darkest, another largest, saline lake, right? So we should not get confused with that particular lake. Why? Because recently Iran is in war with Israel and America, right? We will be finding the most saltiest lake in Iran, right? So we would have read regarding that particular lake before going to exam, right? Whenever he is, the statement is asked like this: it is the largest desert lake in the world. So we will be usually connecting this statement with that particular lake. Okay, so we should not do that kind of mistake. And here Lake Turkana is generally, it is the largest desert lake in the world. Okay, so from where this particular question has been picked, again I forgot to tell you that. So this question we usually read whenever we are reading regarding the lakes that are there in the world, or the lakes that are there in the in India, right? Important lakes or important straits, right? Important mountain ranges, or else important island countries, or important volcanic activities which happened recently 2 years back or 1 year back, right? So in that particular area we will be covering this particular topic, right? So again, this was there in news in 2025. In 2025 this Lake Turkana is in news. Okay, that is why we have seen the resemblance of that particular issue in question paper. Now let's come back to the question. Lake Turkana is the largest desert lake in the world. By default, that is the that is correct statement. Second, okay, we will try to find the answers parallelly. So option number 1 should be there. If you try to see the options here, where is statement 1? Statement 1 is option A, statement 1 is in option B, and statement 1 is in option D. Now we can eliminate option C. We will try to see statement 2. The lake is situated in South Sudan along the eastern fringe of Sahara Desert. Okay. Now the point is, whenever we read regarding Lake Turkana, we generally see that it is not there in Sahara Desert. It is nowhere related to Sahara Desert. Actually, this particular lake, it is in Horn of Africa, or else we can say, forget about Horn of Africa, we can say Rift Valley, right? So we have seen recently what happened. The divergence is happening there. right? Over a period of time, what happens? All the part that is diverging from Africa will come and will converge with the Indian plate. So near that Rift Valley, in that particular nations, we will be having a Lake Turkana, or else we can say this Lake Turkana is near the Rift Valley. So statement 2 will be wrong. So we will try to eliminate the statement 2 in the options where we have yes. We can eliminate option D. Now, third one, it is UNESCO World Heritage Site and it is also called as the Jade Sea. Yes, this is a correct statement. So what would be the answer? Answer would be option B. For suppose if you don't know statement number 3, you will be left with option A and option B. For those who want to make a wild guess, they can guess that UNESCO World Heritage Site, whenever we see UNESCO World Heritage Site, usually that would be, that statement will be right. Okay, so you can take a blind guess, right? If you guess, then answer will be 1 and 3 when you don't know regarding statement 3. Okay, now overall, if you try to see the answer, if you go by the concept which you read during your preparation, the answer would be option B, 1 and 3. If you try to see this slide, as I told you earlier, this Lake Turkana, it is near Rift Valley, right? Actually, this Lake Turkana, the southern part of Lake Turkana will be in Kenya, or else we can say in the northern Kenya we will be having the presence of Lake Turkana, and it is extended up to the northernmost point of Lake Turkana is extended up to Ethiopia. That means in southern side of Ethiopia and in northern part of Kenya, in border of these two countries, we will be seeing Lake Turkana. Okay, and if you see the salinity of this particular salinity of this lake, it is the fourth largest salt lake by volume. Okay, right. Now let us go to the next question. The question is, in what way does Vizhinjam International Seaport represent a structural shift in India's maritime trade and logistics policy? Now the point here is we need to focus on this Vizhinjam International Seaport. Actually, see, the actual pronunciation of ZH in this particular word will be like La. You should pronounce ZH as La. So actually in Malayalam and Tamil Nadu side, in Kerala and Tamil Nadu side, the pronunciations would be somewhat different when compared with the actual English language, right? So Vizhinjam International Seaport represents a structural shift in India's maritime trade and logistics policy. We need to relate the statements which were given below. Now the point here is, from which part of geography this question has been picked? This question has been picked from the human geography. When you read regarding the international trade that was there in 12th class NCERT, there you will be reading regarding all the seaports that are there in India, major seaports. And this seaport, I don't think so it was there in NCERT, but still when we read those seaports, along with those seaports, we need to focus on the recently developed seaports, right? This particular Vizhinjam seaport was started in 2025. Okay, so that is why since it is in current affairs, since it is one of the important seaport that was constructed in western coast of India, actually this seaport is in Kerala. Or else you can easily say, whenever the word is having the mixture of ZH in that particular word, whenever we find these two letters, either that word is related to Kerala or that word is related to Tamil Nadu. Okay. So conceptually, this particular seaport is in western coast of India. Particularly, it is there in Kerala. It was started in 2025. Okay. Statement 1, by functioning exclusively as a domestic cargo hub. Now, whenever you find some extreme words, earlier we used to eliminate those extreme words and we can say that the statement is wrong. But nowadays what happens is, they are giving extreme statements for right statements as well. Extreme words in right statements as well. Okay. But still, if you see this statement, this is wrong statement. Why? Here he is saying that it is exclusively for domestic cargo hub. No, it is not domestic cargo hub. It is international cargo hub. Right. So it was constructed to bypass, the ships that were traveling, towards the Colombo and Sri Lanka. So this particular, Vizhinjam International Seaport has been constructed. So statement 1 is wrong. So if you go by elimination method, you can take out option A and you can take out option B. Now, second statement, by focusing primarily on cruise tourism and heritage shipping. No, it is focused on international trade, not on cruise tourism. So you can eliminate option 2 as well. So statement 2, if you eliminate statement 2, option C is gone. So answer will be option D. See again, if you have some knowledge, or if you have if you read something regarding this seaport during preparation time, we can apply our knowledge. I mean, we can apply some common sense and we can get the answer, right? So if you go by the elimination method, answer will be option D. Even though if you don't know regarding statement 3, still you can get answer. Now let us see the statement 3. By leveraging its natural deep draft and strategic location to cut dependence on foreign transshipment ports, enhance revenue retention, and reposition India in a regional maritime trade. So actually this is the reason why this Vizhinjam International Seaport has been constructed in Kerala. Okay, so answer would be option D. As I told you earlier, it is not for cruise terminal. It is not predominantly focused on domestic trade. It is for international trade. Okay. Actually, this port acts as an international container transshipment hubs. What does it mean? It means that the mother ships will be coming here, and the smaller coastal vessels will be taking up those bigger vessels, and as a hub and spokes model, all this goods and all these containers will be traveled across the different seaports which we have across the eastern and western coast of India. Okay. Now the next question: which statement about Indian states are not correct? The point is, sometimes what happens is, when you are going in a flow, we will be missing regarding these correct statements and not correct statements, right? So many of the aspirants would have gone across this particular problem. Even I, when I wrote, the prelims, right, I also did some mistakes, right? In a flow, we will usually try to forget whether he has asked correct statements or not correct statements. Okay, so that is common. So that is why whenever you are reading a question, you need to underline whether he has asked the correct statements or not correct statements. That is incorrect statements, right? So you need to underline that. So that is the general thing which your mentors would have told you when you are writing the preliminary exam. Okay, let's come back to the question. Uttar Pradesh shares its boundary with the highest number of other Indian states. So he is saying that Uttar Pradesh is a state in India, and Uttar Pradesh will be sharing its boundary with other states. And here he is saying that in India, Uttar Pradesh will be sharing its boundary with the majority of the states. Yes, it is correct. Uttar Pradesh will be sharing its state boundary with 8 different states. Okay, so statement 1 is correct. Rajasthan shares the longest international border among all Indian states. No, this is wrong statement. So which state will be sharing the longest boundary with other country? It is West Bengal. West Bengal will be sharing its boundary with Bangladesh. Okay. Now, so statement 2 is wrong. Sikkim is the only state that shares its boundary with just one another Indian state. No. Whenever there is only, obviously by default you can eliminate it, but still you don't go by those methods. So sometimes what happens is, out of 10 statements nowadays, 5 to 6 statements are becoming right. Okay, so that is why just keep that in mind. The probability of getting the probability of making this statement wrong is there, but it is not 100%. Okay, don't go by that elimination techniques or elimination methods, right? When statements having that extreme statements, or when the statements is having the words like only, right? In older days, in earlier days, it used to be the wrong statement, right? But still now we need to be somewhat careful. Sikkim is the only state that shares boundary with just one another Indian state. No, so we have one more state, right? That is Tripura. Tripura also states its boundary with another state. Okay. So what would be the answer? Option 3 is wrong. So in question he asked regarding which is not correct. See. So answer would be option C, 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are not correct. Okay. Sometimes what happens is we will get confused, and instead of not correct, we will read it as correct. And out of these three statements, only statement 1 is correct, and even in first option he has given option 1. So that is where the traps will be there. Okay. Now forget about that. What would be the answer? Answer would be option C, 2 and 3. As I told you earlier, it was not Tripura, actually it was Meghalaya, right? So Meghalaya and Sikkim, only these two states will be having its border with another state. So Meghalaya will be having a border with Assam. Only with Assam, Meghalaya shares its border, right? If you see Sikkim will be sharing its border only with one state, that is West Bengal. Okay, so in India we have only two states. So which will be sharing its state boundary with only one state, Meghalaya and Sikkim. And even this Meghalaya and Sikkim are there in northeastern part. Next question, identify the river. We need to read the statements which were given here, and we need to see which river is fitting to this description. So statement 1, it has an antecedent drainage system. Now drainage system means we know. What is meant by antecedent drainage system? Antecedent drainage system means, this, if you consider India, before Himalayan, before the convergence of Indian plate with, Eurasian plate, during that point also, there is a river, and after formation of Himalayan mountains also, these kinds of rivers were there, right? It doesn't matter, geological upward movement or below low movement of the area will not alter or will not change the presence of certain rivers, and those rivers were called as antecedent rivers. That means if you consider this Indus River, Brahmaputra River, right, and even in that matter Satluj River, they were there before upliftment of Himalayas, and even after upliftment of Himalayas, the path has been altered, but still the presence of that particular rivers were there, right? So if you see the options, Brahmaputra, Indus and Satluj, all these three are generally considered as antecedent river. Teesta we can eliminate. Okay, by reading statement 1 we can eliminate the Teesta river. Now it flows through three countries. Obviously Brahmaputra, Indus, Satluj, all these three will be flowing through three countries. Okay, it originates on Tibetan plateau and is important for irrigation. Again, we will be seeing the formation of these three rivers in the Tibetan plateau, and it is important for irrigation. Now the fourth one, it does not form distributaries. Right, what is meant by distributary? Distributary is nothing but the river breaking into different other small rivers, right? What is meant by tributary? All small rivers will be combining and forming a big river. Now here is saying that out of these three rivers, it does not form any distributaries. That means it will not further break up into different rivers. So Brahmaputra, we know that it will be breaking into different distributaries, and Indus also breaks into different distributaries, and only Satluj it will not break into distributary. That means it does not form any distributary. Okay, so from which part of geography this question has been picked? Again, from Indian geography, from the drainage system. The point is, all the questions that were given in geography, they are easily solvable when we have certain knowledge on the concept that we read in the class. No need to go and do more amount of work, right? You just focus on the class. You just read whatever there is in NCERT, you just read the classroom notes, right? That content will be sufficient to answer these questions. Okay, so answer will be option C. Now, especially if you see the Satluj River, what happens is the Satluj River will be, behaving as a tributary, right? It will go and mix with the Chenab River, right? And at a place called Panjnad, right there, Satluj and Chenab will be mixing, and after that, the both rivers will go and mix in Indus River. Okay, that means Satluj River act as a tributary to Chenab River. Next question, which are the objectives of Rainfed Area Development Initiative under the National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, right? Again, this is from the current affairs, and or else we can say, geographical agricultural part of the geography, right? In human geography, we'll be reading regarding this agriculture, or else separately we'll be reading agriculture as a part of geography, right? So there, in the current affairs portion, this question has been asked. Actually, it is asking regarding the objectives of RAD, Rain-Fed Area Development Initiative. What does it mean? It means that we will be having rain, and that entire area drainage will be mainly depending upon the rainfall. Right, depending upon that rainfall only, we will be seeing the agricultural activity in that particular area. Right, there will be not having any rivers. Okay, the only source of water in that particular area will be the rainfall. Now, so he is asking regarding the objectives of Rain-Fed Area Development Program, and this program was under National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Okay, so in that first statement, encouraging monoculture in rain-fed areas. So with common sense, we can easily eliminate this statement. Why? Whenever there is a rain-fed area, right, that means water will be very less. Only we will be having water during the rainfall. So whenever there is rainfall, we will be not focusing on monoculture. We will be not growing one single crop. What we will be doing is we will be diversifying or intensifying the diversity of the crops. Okay, so monoculture will not be seen in rain-fed areas. Okay, what if that that crop has been failed? So that is why monoculture will be not the objective of rain-fed area development. So statement 1 is wrong. Try to eliminate the statement 1 parallelly. Option A and option B are gone. Now, it increasing rice cultivation in irrigated regions. The point is, again, if you apply some common sense, rice need more amount of water. If you don't have water throughout that 90 days of the period when we when we grow paddy, what happens? The crop will not be ripening, right? We will be not getting the output. Okay, for suppose that means rice cultivation need extensive amount of water. In rain-fed areas, first of all, water is less, right? In rain-fed area, if you try to cultivate rice, it takes more amount of water, right? It consumes more amount of water, right? So with that point, we can easily eliminate statement 2. Rice will not be the part, or rice will not be the crop in rain-fed area program. So try to eliminate 2. Then how many options gone? 3 options gone. We are left with option D. Okay, enhancing productivity and minimizing climatic risk through integrated farming. As I told you, in rain-fed areas, integrated farming will be done, and there they will be focusing on the crops which will be taking less amount of water instead of more amount of water. Rice is consuming more amount of water. That is why we can eliminate statement number 2. And monoculture will not be seen there. We'll be having different types of crops that are grown, right? We will be seeing, as I told you earlier, integrated farming system will be seen. There we'll be having more amount of crops. So option would be option D. Now, what are the most significant implications of obtaining Ecotex certification for Eri silk in global textile industry? Again, from where we are, from which part of geography? In geography, when we are reading agriculture, we will be reading regarding the commercial crops. If you go back and check 2025 paper, 2024 paper, every year you have a question on commercial crops. Even in class as well, when we are discussing regarding the crops, I would have told you, I told you actually, right? You should be focusing upon the commercial crops. Okay, now in this year, he focused upon silk. Okay, it lets Indian exporters compete in high-end markets that prioritize chemical-free products. That is statement 1. Statement 2, it confirms Eri silk meets international safety, environmental and quality standards, enabling entry into premium eco-conscious markets. So we need to find which of these 2 statements are correct. Now, if you see the statement 1, it says that it lets Indian exporters compete in high-end markets that prioritize chemical-free products. Statement 1 is right. Statement 2, actually, we are doing this silk production or Eri silk production to compete with the global markets. So statement 2 is also right. So answer will be both 1 and 2. So option C will be the right answer. Now, another question. ships from which country must cross the Strait of Hormuz to reach out to the Indian Ocean? Again, why this question has been asked? We all know that Iran is in war with, there was some escalations between Iran. We cannot say the war, we can say escalations which happened between Iran and, Israel as well as America, right? So the three countries were fighting, okay? And the point is, because of that escalations, geopolitical situations which happened in the Western Asian area, it has led to the blockage of a Strait of Hormuz, right? So everyone expected that there will be some question regarding the Strait of Hormuz. Here, instead of asking the border countries of Strait of Hormuz or the important geographical things that are there in Strait of Hormuz, he asked a simple question. What is that question? Out of these countries, ships from which countries will be using this Strait of Hormuz, or ships from which countries will be passing across this Strait of Hormuz, and after Strait of Hormuz, they have to go into the Arabian Sea, and subsequently they have to go to the Indian Ocean. That was the question here. Now, if you see the countries which were given here, you can easily eliminate certain countries, right? You can easily eliminate Egypt. Why? Egypt is near to this Mediterranean Sea, or else we can say it is near to the Red Sea. Okay, so if you eliminate Egypt, so option 4 should not be there in answer. Statement 4 should not be there in answer. So option D has gone. Now, you can easily eliminate Syria as well. Okay, why? Because Syria is in the western side of Mediterranean Sea. If you see the map of Mediterranean Sea, to the eastern coast, or not western, eastern coast of Mediterranean Sea, we will be having Syria. Try to eliminate 2. So option A gone, option C gone. Answer is 1 and 3. So Bahrain and Qatar, these 2 countries will be using the ships, okay, to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Or else we can say the ships from Qatar and Bahrain will be crossing the Strait of Hormuz to reach Indian Ocean. Okay, so that is the point here. So answer will be option B, 1 and 3. Next question, on river bridges connecting India with neighbors. Again, from which part of geography this question has been there? This question has been asked from, if you see the Indian geography, in that India and its location, and we will be reading regarding the India's neighboring countries. Right. Whenever we read regarding India's neighboring countries, we will be reading the relations which how India is maintaining with our neighboring countries. There we will be coming across this particular question, or else we can say this particular the concept that we are asked in this question will be coming in that particular area. So Maitri Setu. Maitri Setu means friendship bridge, right? So usually whenever we say Maitri Setu, 2 countries will come in mind. One India, obviously, another one is Bangladesh. So Maitri Setu is between India and Bangladesh. Maitri Setu over Feni River connects Ramgarh in India with Sabroom in Bangladesh. So the point is, Ramgarh is in Bangladesh and Sabroom is in India. So he has twisted the areas which were connecting by this rivers. Okay, where is Sabroom? If I am not wrong, it is in Tripura. Okay, Sabroom is in Tripura, right? So statement 1 is wrong. So parallelly try to eliminate. Option A has gone, option C has gone, and we have B and D. Then statement 2, Zulaghat suspension bridge connects India with Myanmar. No, India with Myanmar, this is wrong. India with Myanmar is not the question here, right? Answer is statement 2 will be wrong. If you take out statement 2, you will be left with option D. The Mechi bridge and its approaches connects the Pani Tanki bypass in India with Kakarvitta in Nepal. So statement 3 is right, statement 2 and statement 1 are wrong. Now where this Zulaghat suspension bridge is there? Zulaghat suspension bridge is in between India and Nepal. Okay, it is not connecting India with Myanmar. Okay, and we have Sharda river, or else we call that river as Mahakali river in Nepal, and on that particular Mahakali river we will be having this bridge, Zulaghat suspension bridge, and in Pithogar district, that was there in Uttarakhand side, and here we will be having Baitadi district in Nepal. So between these two rivers, or between these two countries, we will be having the suspension bridge. So I hope you understood, or I hope you got the analysis of the questions that were asked in 2026 prelims examination. In next video, we will try to analyze the questions that were that were given from environment. And if you have any doubt regarding the questions which we discussed here, or if you feel any question has been left out that was the part of geography and we haven't discussed in the video, please let me know in the comment section, and we will try to analyze that particular question. Okay, I hope you understood the point how you need to revise the PYQs, and actually these PYQs will be helping in preparation for next year's exam. Okay, if you see, majority of or we cannot say majority, most of the questions were directly asked from PYQs. Okay, especially in history, there was one question. Okay, so the ancient names of Indus rivers. People will say that that was discussed in my class. All that is bullshit. If you read the PYQs, you will be finding that question in PYQ. If you read PYQs, if you analyze the PYQs, obviously you will be getting some questions in next year exam. But this year, what happened was, some more number of questions were taken directly from the PYQs. The reference has been taken from the PYQs. So PYQs plays an important role whenever you are writing UPSC. Okay, so if you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. If you feel that I forgot the question that was asked from geography, please let me know in the comment section along with the set. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video.